Parshas Emor, the Torah tells us once again about the shulhan that was in the Beis Hamikdash. And the shulhan served the purpose of being the conduit of parnasa that comes down to this world. And that's symbolized by the lechem aponim, the 12 loaves of bread that were put on the shulhan every single week. So the Gemara, this is a Gemara Masechta Chagiga, but those of you who are learning the Daf Yomi, we had this recently in Masechta Menachos as well. The Gemara says over here, "My dichsiv shulchan hatohar." The pasuk uses the word the shulchan hator, the holy, the pure shulchan. It's tohar, not tameh. Says the Gemara in Tainus in Chagig Chavav, Michlal shehu tameh. Apparently, the shulchan can become tameh. I fret the Gemara koliyet hasi lenachas in a makabel tuma. This is called a kliyet, a wooden keli that's supposed to sit there. It isn't moved around. Such a keli is a makabel tuma. Emalabed shemagbiyin oisai umaran boy la'oila regalim lechem upon him. No, they did move the shulchan 3 times a year. What did they do 3 times a year with the shulchan? They would lift it up, and they would show to the people who were oila regel, who came to the Beis Hamikdash shalosh panim pashana, and they lift up the shulchan. They say, "V'oirem lahem ruchi baschem lifnei hamakom." Look how the Rebbeinu Shalom loves you. Silukai kisidurai. Because we know that they would they would bake the lechem upon him, they put it there on Shabbos, and it remained there entire week. But just like on the day that they put it in, it was hot, fresh bread. That's the way it was after a week like that. It was still hot. It was still warm. The Rebbeinu Shalom is saying, it's a simon how much he loves us. What a great miracle. They sit there for a week, and they're still fresh and warm. Kisidur kisiluchai. Shenemar losum lechem lechem cham b'yayim hilachai. So they went ahead and they showed the article, and the people came up to the Beis Hamikdash 3 times a year. When they're about to leave, they show them a nace, a miracle that happened in the Beis Hamikdash. What's the miracle? That the bread remained warm and fresh for the entire week. Now, there were many nisim that happened in the Beis Hamikdash on a daily basis. Why this nace? Of all the things that they demonstrated the shulchan and the lechem upon him, the warm chalas, to remain warm from week to week. Why that? So I once saw in a sefer, I think a very interesting pshat, and that is that when the Rebbeinu Shalom is going ahead and telling us by making the bread warm, these are the 12 loaves, the 12 chalas. Why 12? Connected the Shiftei Yisrael, the 12 tribes of Klal Yisrael, the Yudbei Shvatim, the 12 Shvatim. Each bread connected one of the Shvatim. This is how much I love you. You're still warm. You're still fresh by me. Kisi Luche. That's the symbolism over there. Ru'uchi baschem lefnei hamakom. This is how I demonstrate how much I cherish you, how much I love you. You're still warm by me, with me, even after a week of sitting over there. That's the chibaschem lefnei hamakom. That is why, perhaps, they picked this nace. This actually is a word from Rav Tzadok HaKayin Milublin in the Priyat Tzadik. He says this pshat. And what he writes is that you're now going back to your cities, to your country, to your wherever you live. And there are 12 shvatim, there are 12 different shvatim. And guess what? people aren't alike. The Shvatim are not alike. Yaakov Avinu had 12 sons, 12 different sons, with different kaiches and with different personalities and with different in a whole different gisha, philosophy to life. You're going to go back now to your cities and your towns, and you have to live together. There is no only one way that's right. There are multiple ways that are right. Each shevet has its own approach to the Ribbon Shalom. You know, there's a halacha in Shulchan Aruch in Orach Chaim that we some shuls should do today. The Shulchan Aruch writes in Ilchas Tefillah, Siman Tzadi, Tzorach liftach psochim o holiness keneged Yerushalayim. You have to have windows opening towards Yerushalayim, Kedei sheyispal kenegdon, and you daven opposite them. V'toiv sheyiu bebeis hakneses yud beis holiness. There should be 12 windows. Each window keneged a shevet. Why? Because there are 12 approaches. There are 12 pathways to the Ribbon Shalom. Not only one way. Reuven has his way, Shimon has his way, Levi has his way, Yehuda has his way. And what the Ribbon Shalom is telling, they're all acceptable to me, as long as it's al pi das v'din. You know, in Yeshivas Ner Yisrael in the base medrash, there are 12 windows. In the Agudas Yisrael Shul in Baltimore here, there are 12 windows. Because that's a halach in Shulchan Aruch. 12 windows, connected 12 shvatim. 12 windows, 12 pathways to the Ribbon Shalom. 12 approaches. And that is why they left up the lechem upon him. The lechem upon him, ruhi bask l'fnei hamokum. See how precious you are to the Ribbon Shalom. All of you, each one of you, with perhaps your only different mahalach. And that's the message that the people should go home with. Yeah, okay, he davens like this, I daven like this. I start with Baruch Shomer, he starts with Haidu. He says halal on Leil Pesach. I don't say halal on Pesach. You know, we have our different minhagim. Sfardim had their minhag, Ashkenazim their minhagim, Siddim their minhagim, Snaga their minhagim, Teimanim their minhagim. Chibaskin l'fnei hamokum. They're all dear to the Ribbon Shalom. And that's why B'davka, they lifted up the shulchan with the lechem upon him, with the warm bread, to say everybody equally is acceptable to the Ribbon Shalom as long as it is kedas v'kedin.